right, good morning or good night, whatever you're watching this, to anybody out there who is watching this. Now, you've already seen the title of this video. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. If I titled it correctly, in a way that's very much controversial as it's supposed to be. But I find that this is something that nobody talks about this. And in a world where we should have free speech and information everywhere, I feel as though I need to talk about it. I feel as though this is something that has to be said. Now, whatever platform, if you've already watched the video, I can already see people like typing in the comments, just like really angrily, just getting mad at the things I'm gonna say right now. But this has to be said. All right, this has to be said. So understand, I'm just here to provide information. I'm not here to put too much, you know, stock into preferences and things like that. I'm just saying I'll be talking about in general. And what that is the ideal skin color for attraction. Now this is I talk about this in my book, The Psychology of Attraction, and I feel as though it's important for me to make these videos to talk about exactly something that is secret within the African American community, which is that secretly black people wish that they were light skinned. Yep. And let that sink in. I said it. Black people secretly wish that they were light skinned. And you know what? You would always get, if ever you say to somebody like, I kind of want to be a little bit lighter, they always go, what? Like if you say that after a black community, like, huh? What? You want to be lighter? You want to, well, you hate yourself? You hate the skin that you're in? What is this? Are you racist? Well, you colorist? What's the problem? It's the kind of thing that you get whenever somebody says that. Like, you should be happy within your own skin, man. Like, but the reality is, and there's a reason for this, and I'll bring up studies here in a second. But the reality is that the light skin color is very much attractive to the average person, regardless of race, ethnicity, whatever. That skin color is the most attractive, and black people will. And I had there was a conversation I was listening to. I'm never gonna put anybody's names out there. I'm never gonna put anybody out there, but I was in it. I didn't say anything. I just listened because I'm not necessarily light skinned, but I'm not dark skinned either. So I know that for the most part, me around black people, they might consider me light skinned because I'm just the lightest person typically whenever I'm hanging around with the black people. I'm not as light as I used to be, but light skin essentially it's what it's called. Whenever the light goes onto the skin, it reflects. So if you see me in a dark room, I look like any black guy. Like, I look dark, but if light reflects on me, then it's gonna reflect. Like, I'm gonna look a different color. I'm gonna reflect. My color's gonna be reflected of the light's color. So I was listening in, and they were talking. You just, it was like I kind of just want my skin to be a little bit. He was just saying, like, there's a guy and a girl. He was just saying, like, I kind of want my skin to be a little bit lighter, just a little bit. And just the woman, she was like, because she's the older one, she's like, oh, what's wrong with your skin? Why you want to be? And he started getting kind of defensive. Like, he started having the arms crossed. He was like, I don't know. I just want to have a little light skin. Arms are crossing, and he was just like trying to switch the conversation, trying to change topic. And you'd think that she wasn't interested in that. She was trying to get to the point because she's dark skinned too. She's trying to be like, you should love the skin. She was saying that, but then because I'm very good at noticing body language, I saw that he tried to switch the conversation, and then she started switching back to it because it's what black people in the community really wish about themselves. And it makes sense, all right? It's really hard to. I say this. I don't know if I made a video on this. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure it's up right now. But there's nothing wrong at all with being dark skinned. There's nothing wrong at all with being really pale, which I'm gonna get into as well. I'm not just gonna talk about black people. I'm gonna talk about all ethnicities. But I'm black, so I'm gonna first start off with that. Dark skin. If you do it right, like you take care of your skin, your skincare routine. The only thing that matters is whether people can really see like your features, right? Like that's the most important thing. It's kind of hard when you're seeing like the big joke of someone who's dark is that you have to put like a white like piece of paper over them to put like a filter so that you can see their face whenever you're taking pictures. That's not attractive. Like we all know this. You can't be attracted to something you can't see. How attractive is that? And so, of course, there are people out there who are really dark that are beautiful, dark skinned models out there. Okay, but the fact is that you can't. We all have seen this within ourselves whenever we take pictures. Just like what? Like the features just aren't standing out. Like you can't see like the difference between the cheekbone and the shadow underneath. Like it kind of sucks, doesn't it? Like you just can't see all the features that you want to see. There's no difference in melanin levels. Like it just all looks like one black canvas. There's not like any kind of angles to it, and that's what makes it a very attractive face and attractive things in general, which I talk about in my book. But you can, of course, become a top model if you do the proper skincare routines, you're taking care of your body, things like that. Average person just doesn't do that. Like average black person, like their skin probably would be a lot, and I noticed this within myself. Our skin could probably be a lot better if we just took care of our health, like ate better food, this, that, and the other. Like most people faces just look bland and like shit. Like not even just talking about dark skin in general, just any race. Most of their face either looks really pale, which I'll talk about within the European community, which is you see this a lot too. I'm gonna get off track, but within the European community, they also like light skin as well. So this is why it's so big for white people to do tanning. They're trying to get to that same color level, and it's because that is a very much. It looks like a skin color that's alive. Like you look healthy, you look alive. In movies like Harry Potter, the Joker, Hannibal Lecter, Darth Vader, all of them have one like big distinct feature about them, and it's that they're all pale, and they have blue eyes. Like vampires, zombies, pale blue eyes. You look dead. Like, that's the thing. It's the same thing on the opposite extreme end with being very dark skinned. You look dead essentially. Like you look dead. It doesn't look like you're alive. And the reason why this is because I talk about in my book, I relate to the sun being the most attractive thing. According to studies, the color that's the most attractive that humans can see easily is between the ranges of red, yellow, and orange. Apparently, red has the longest wavelength of all the colors, and so it makes it very visible and easy for the eye to see. But red on its own, we associate that with darkness, kind of fighting the heat. Yellow and orange is a happy medium, still being within that range of long wavelength, but it's very much still like easy on the eyes. Doesn't hurt the eyes. Yeah, the sun is exactly like that, and people who display light skin colors or tan colors are pretty much an essence of the sun. Like they reflect. You can see that glow on them. That's what that is. It's the glow. You can see exactly what their skin looks like. Like their skin is reflecting. Any room they go into, their skin reflects that, and it's healthy. It's exactly what you want, and it's something to strive for. And after doing many research, not every single person can achieve that look. And by all means, love your skin, love the skin color that you have. I'm just saying, according to the studies of color, this is what the human eye likes to see, and this is why I think when it comes to like beauty, like modeling, like top models, like women's what is it, like Miss America, things like that, or Miss whatever. Like I think the Philippine women win a lot, and that's because they're already naturally within that range. Again, love your skin color, but the way to achieve, if you look into it, if you're a black person like myself, we can't just go into a tan. Like you can't tan, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you need to go and get a skin brightener or something like that, or you're gonna do this. Like I'm not gonna tell you to bleach your skin. Like I'm not gonna say go out like do a Michael Jackson and completely bleach your skin. That's not what this is. But from what I've learned and with the research that I've done, because I used to be very much dark. I probably pull up a video, a photo right now. When I was in the military and I was out in San Antonio and we were outside all the time in the heat that is Texas at all hours of the day, essentially just outside getting cooked. And then I went to Mississippi and same thing, getting cooked. I was extremely, that was the most dark I had ever been, like very much, very, very dark. And my skin also looked like shit too, on top of that. After doing a lot of research and what I found, and because I wanted to get myself back to like my roots, like I wanted to get myself back to the skin color. I started to understand attraction. I started to understand myself too. I very much, growing up too, I really liked light skin color, and I accepted this about myself. I like that color, and I wanted myself to be at that. It doesn't really yellow being. I like myself now. Like, I like my skin color now, but where I was, I just looked, to me, my own opinion, I just looked like shit. It didn't align at all with myself. With that said, I found that the reason why the difference between all the different skin colors within different communities, different ethnicities, we sit here and we say it's just genetics, but genetics is a very lazy, very ignorant approach to understanding exactly why we look the way we look. The reason why we have genetics is because of environment. So white people, the reason why they're white is because if you look at our evolution, they grew up in they didn't grow up in the Asian African uh, places where the sun is on you all the time. I was also in Saudi Arabia and I got cooked there. Africa and Asia, these places, the sun is just cooking you. Whereas in Europe, if you're in a place like Greenland or Iceland or wherever, like certain places, there are certain places out there where the sun for months on end doesn't even come up. Like, I don't know if it's Greenland or Iceland or like Antarctica, but there's a place out there where it's dark, like all summer, dark all winter, like literally dark. Like they wake up, it's dark. Go to sleep, it's dark. You gotta think that's gotta have an impact on your skin. Like your melanin levels produced because your body sees that like melanin is there to protect your DNA because the sun, the longer it's sitting on your skin, you see this with cancer people who get skin cancer, they're out in the sun too much. It's that simple. You put in, you we also when it comes to food too, in Africa we got food like bananas, chicken. We sit here and think about why do black people love chicken so much. It's because you can't grow an apple in Africa where the sun is out, or Saudi Arabia where the sun is out and cooking you all the time. If anybody out there is watching this, I want you to put an apple out. It's an experiment for you. Put an apple out onto like a balcony or onto just like the kitchen window, and then put an apple out next to the table where the sun can kind of touch it but barely, and then I want you to put an apple into the refrigerator and just see the differences between aging between the apple that's in the window, the apple that's on the table, and the apple that's in the refrigerator. It's amazing how fast like that the apple that's in the window is gonna just age and rot, whereas the apple in the refrigerator, it's gonna last a month, 2 months, easy, and that's the difference between the ethnicities and the melanin levels is that fruits and vegetables that you eat out in Africa contain melanin, and it has to because that's how it lives. That's how the DNA and the nutrients are protected. Whereas fruits like apples, oranges, all these citrus fruits contain vitamin C that actually clears the skin and makes your skin much lighter and also inhibits melanin. It inhibits melanin levels. And it makes sense. They're out in the sea next to the water. It's not much sun happening. Maybe they're out in a very snowy area where it snows, 24/7, 365 days of the year. Those fruits can't exactly survive out in Africa. Whereas if you're in Africa, black people love chicken. Yeah, chicken, they're omnivores. Chicken eats, worms. Chicken eats grass. Chicken eats, small bugs. All of that contains protein, melanin, things that is fine. Like chicken can be out in the sun and it's okay. Like chickens are fine being out in the sun like that. Bananas again. Banana is yellow. That's melanin. Banana is yellow, then it gets to be like kind of brownish. It's melanin levels. Whereas these citrus fruits that have all these different colors, red, orange, green, all this other stuff, yeah, if it was out in the sun, like it'd be yellow just like the bananas were, but they're not. And that's the difference, and that's how I've been able to clear my skin. Is that once I understood that there's no such thing as genetics. There is such thing as genetics, but there's such a thing as epigenetics, which I don't understand why this isn't more talked about. But it should be pretty. I think it should be pretty common sense. I mean, I guess not, because since now we're able to travel a lot, but a banana and watermelons and all these things, all these, you look at all these tropes and all these stereotypes about the different races, yeah, they come from somewhere. It makes sense. It makes sense why black people can't swim. Of course, you're in Africa. We talk about Africans kids not having water and things like this as a joke to humble ourselves, but it's true. We all know this. Mr. Beast just recently went out and he installed a bunch of like water like ducts, and the kids were ecstatic. They had to get the water from like mud, and you can see this in the video. This is out in Africa. You think they're gonna be able to swim? Fuck no. So whereas if you go out on the other side and you go into places like Europe and Iceland, Antarctica, they're surrounded by snow and water. So they're gonna be fishing a lot. They're gonna get just gonna be a complete difference in nutrients, and that's gonna change everything. It's gonna change everything. Your entire body, your chemical makeup, the way melanin, the way it's stored in the body, because you got pheomelanin, which is the colors of red, like the apples, like red, orange, yellow, which you see pheomelanin in the lips. My lips are pink right now; they're not red like they're supposed to be. But you see it in the lips, especially. That's pheomelanin, and uromelanin, which is a darker melanin, which is brown, and black, is what happens when you are getting hit by the sun a lot. But that's the difference, and different foods have different uromelanin levels and pheomelanin levels, and if you're eating, I found that if you want to become more lighter skinned, depending on, if you're, black, or if you're someone who is, Eurocentric or European, you want to start eating oranges, but that's for darker people. Eat more oranges, eat more vitamin C. That starts to block a lot of the melanin. And then if you stay at the sun as well, because the more you stay in the sun, the more melanin your body produces in order to block out to protect your DNA. That would also help too. And then for people who are, I'd say tanning is fine, but it wouldn't probably hurt to try, if you're a white person, to eat more meat, such as chicken. Just meat in general really produces a lot of melanin and testosterone too. I've also looked into this as well. This is actually quite interesting from a gender standpoint. I'm not going to get into that whole conversation, but if you, according to, I read an article on the differences that happen when someone transitions from a man to a woman, and they found that some of the changes that happen is difference in eye color as well as skin color. So, according, I don't have the exact study put up, but according to certain studies, women have the most like different eye colors. So like the eye color such as green, which is a very rare eye color, women make up most of that like population over than men. Like men have more darker colors than women. And looking into it, it makes sense evolutionarily. So hunter and gatherers, so men would do the ones hunting, so they would primarily eat meat, which contains testosterone. It doesn't contain testosterone, but it contains I think it's tyrosine. It's a tyrosine, and it helps. It's kind of like a synergy with testosterone. So I believe it's tyrosine, and it helps with melanin levels, and also helps with testosterone. And just being out in the sun as well also helps with testosterone, which makes sense too. So men living as men did all of the years prior to the modern day of being out in the sun constantly and producing testosterone and these things, they almost kind of go hand in hand. So the more testosterone that you have, the more melanin that's going to be produced in your body, as typically that's what would happen whenever you're out a lot. Both would kind of happen. I don't know how exactly, I can't break down exactly why producing testosterone is going to also raise your melanin, but it seems that it does, and the studies kind of seem to prove it. So, whereas with women, they were gatherers, so they ate all the fruits that I just mentioned before, the vitamin C's. They would gather the fruit, and they would also sit in the house, so they would be more lighter than the man. Typically, was the general dynamic. You know, you had the man who was the darker one, and then the woman who was lighter because she always stayed inside. And yeah, if you, I don't suggest this. I've looked into it. It's really hard, but maybe in the future I can produce something is that just doesn't really necessarily ruin your hormones, but could make you lighter or darker wherever you want to be. But if you were to go on testosterone or feminine, or excuse me, estrogen level treatment, you can either or make yourself darker or lighter, or whichever one you want to be. That's very interesting, but that is an option. So that is something out there to do if that's something that you want. But this is just the kind of options that you can take to either make yourself darker or lighter in order to get to that perfect range of orange, yellow, and red. Since these are the colors that us as humans typically like. Like we even associate red with love. So this is just the colors that we like. Of course, red is also associated with blood too, which is really bad. But anyways, I hope you found this information very helpful. I don't see anybody talking about this anywhere else, so I really do hope that you can use this to your benefit. Looking into it, it really is as simple as, without breaking down any of the specifics in nutrition, it's just as simple as looking at evolution. Like, what did we do? What did our past selves do? And how can we do the opposite of that in order to achieve the results that we want, the skin color that we want? Because that's pretty much what it comes down to. You have to eat different, live different, breathe different. That's essentially how you can change exactly who you are. Your genetics play probably about 40% of who you are, but a lot of it is epigenetics, and that's you living exactly the same way that your ancestors lived anyways, which doesn't change anything. But changing things changes everything. If you don't change, nothing changes. I'll leave it off with that.